I'm Mayor Tyrone Garner of the Unified Government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas. On behalf of the great people of Wyandotte County and Kansas City, Kansas, I just want to welcome UNESCO Creative Cities. Right where we are in this part of Wyandotte County, to me is hallowed ground. Because when you talk about the free state of Kansas and how you've had slaves through the Underground Railroad and through that channel, escaping slavery to free Kansas, it was a combined effort of the Wyandotte tribe, abolitionists, as well as African Americans that came together to give hope to those individuals that escaped the ugly legacy of slavery that is embedded in our great nation here in the United States. And so I just want us to realize that where we're at today, we stand on the shoulders of so many that really embodied what freedom can and should be for all citizens. I mean, that whole notion of that we were all created equal, and that those inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness should really mean something, irrespective of color.
I am Commissioner of this district, District 1. My name is Gail Townsend. UNESCO, thank you for completing a circle. I was born right there, or maybe right there, wherever the old Douglas Hospital was. This is a completion of a circle, or at least a continuation of a circle, for those from Ghana and other nations who may be here to come to this side of the ocean to speak to us and to reach across oceans is really a significant.
I'm Anita Dixon Brown. I'm with UNESCO Creative City of Music in the USA. We are the only creative city of music in the United States under UNESCO. This has been something that I cannot tell you is one of the most overwhelmingly important things I've ever done in my career. And almost 30-something years ago, me and this brother right here started a trek in Washington where we shared room, ate Spam out of cans and stuff, to go in front of the legislators and things to say how important this history is to the rest of our world. He is one of the main reasons why we're standing here today. And I just wanted to say personally myself, my brother, it's been an honor knowing you all these years. Absolute honor.
When my late uncle, Alex, did a story called Roots, and Roots tracing the troubles and the trials that we had come through at the time that I was born, it's something that we as a people did not want to speak to. The rich history of this township, Quindaro, that welcomed people of every culture, of every creed. They were all Americans, whether they were of African descent, or European descent, or of Native American descent. The Quindaro Township is a perfect place. With God's grace, we continue to make that difference, and for each of you to be here and to be a part of it, I too am indeed pleased and privileged and humbled.
So I'm gonna come from a different perspective. One, I want to give thanks to Anita and her group for making sure UNESCO has honored the great tradition we have in the Kansas City area and in my district, the 18th and Vine area, with jazz, which is, as my mentor Ali Gates would say, the most famous thing that comes out of America. I am Barbara Ann Washington. I am from Missouri, a state that has caused much bloodshed, pain, and hurt for African American people and slavery. So where I come from, a state where My own family was on a plantation with more than 200 black people in Saline County, Missouri. Only 200 slaves may have existed in this entire state. And so as we go forward in honoring UNESCO and its mission in bringing world peace through arts and education and music, we want to make sure that we acknowledge Kansas City, Kansas, its influence on who we are in Missouri in the 18th and Vine District. We would not be able to be here today. We thank and acknowledge Ghana and the other countries for their disastrous participation in getting us to this place, for us to be lost souls. But in that lost souls, we as black people found a way to come together to acknowledge who we are.
This apology is directed specifically to people of, not people of color, black people, African people, people who have been dispersed in all parts of the world, Brazil, Africa, the Caribbean, to work the mines, to work the sugar fields, to do those various things. This is for not only for us, but for them also. So we want to really set the record straight on the fact that fault only lies if you accept it. And the people who have come here today, we have got some incredible letters. When you look at a black person and you can't know where they're from, that's the heartbreak of being a black American. I know that in 1849, that's as far back as my family can go, on both sides.
Kwekwe Amaturu, Louisa Livia Jatse. Greetings, friends. My name is Louisa Libby, and I am the second chief of the Wyandot Nation of Kansas. The ground of which we stand upon was our ground. Nancy Quindaro happens to be my cousin. We're very proud that we were here along with the abolitionists and others to help with the Underground Railroad. People were escaping to freedom. They were told that to not come across the river, because if you did, there were Indians there, they were savages, they would kill you, all kinds of horrible things would happen. But when their families were brave enough to come across, either by ice across the river, by ferry, they got here, they were greeted by the Wyandots, and they were told they were people of the earth, just like us. It is a great honor that the Creator chose us to be here and to help out with humanity and with others, and to still be together to this day with families at Quindaro.
A serious studies of history equivocally reveals the capture and human trafficking of millions of African men and women and children at the hands of the Arabs and the Europeans. We are most saddened by the fact that some African chiefs, in violation of their sworn duty to protect the interest of the people as well as those yet unborn, and will kidnap, sell, trade, and otherwise negotiate for the transfer of their own people to foreigners, thereby sentencing them to a life of unspeakable terror, pain, anguish, and suffering. Today I offer, on behalf of all caring African leaders, a sincere apology for the actions of any African chief who, whether wittingly or unwittingly, contributed to the suffering of African people and her diaspora children. In addition, I ask for forgiveness, and I extend my hand seeking the opportunity to join with my estranged African family members to work together hand in hand in a collaborative effort to heal from our common wounds of slavery and colonialism and fashion an honest, healthy, and prosperous African future together.
I just had my first great-granddaughter. And when I tell you that the circle, to look at this person and see that this person is going to inherit this from me. And I'm thinking, did this happen to my great-grandparents, that I am who I am today? Did This happened to my great-great-great-grandmother, whom I shall never even know who she was. Did she give this to me to move on? And the answer has to be yes.
And the letter reads, "The coming together of Africans from Africa and the diaspora in Kansas City is one of the most important connections in the world today. This opportunity today gives us a chance to have the most important of conversations that must happen between our people in addressing the transatlantic slave trade that forever changed people of African descent from continent to continent. The knowledge of this lies in our shared DNA, and today we seek forgiveness from our own, those of who survived the horrors of centuries of enslavement across the globe. On behalf of the people of Ghana, we ask for your forgiveness. Thank you. On this day, the 28th of September of 2022, in Kansas City, Kansas, USA, it will be brotherhood and love that will allow us to move forward beyond this historic ceremony and will henceforth become our beginning of new chapters of love and life, to follow us with the spirit of apology, healing, and to allow us to plant new seeds of acceptance, one for another. This letter was written by the Honorable Aprempong Hima Deki XIV.
Like I said, my name is Paul Cisse. I was born and raised in the Gambia. This subject of this whole slavery and oppression, and it is very deep and painful to even talk about it sometimes. But we'll do our best to give our honest opinion about the circumstances, about all the things that happen, and how we can move forward as better people, so that this thing we'll never forget the experience, but we will, from this day forward, we probably could move forward knowing that we have brought some little bit of closure into that painful moments of our lives. But what I want to talk about is that when it happened, to find closure and healing in this whole experience, we also have to acknowledge the fact that we became part of the problem. And in order to move forward, we have to stop blaming one side and then thinking that they were the only problem, because that's not going to take us anywhere forward. Right. We have to accept the fact that we also played an important role in this whole subject of slavery, whether you're the enslaved or the slave trader itself. We enslave our people to do our yard work, take care of our kids, or do their farming and things like that. Those are all horrific events, because we treat each other, let's say, we capture one of our own people, and then they become slaves. They could capture and ship, and the people that they capture will end up becoming a commodity that everybody needs. What that did was allow African kingdoms and chiefs and tribal groups fight each other to enslave people so that they can sell them. Instead of doing other things, they would sell them, and in turn the Europeans or the foreigners would give them guns so that they can become a business. As tragic as that was, it became a business for most Africans, and that's where most of the problems came from. That not only were we fighting each other, but then we understood it to become a business proposal for most. They wanted to go out there and capture as many people as possible so that they can sell them. In return, they get the guns to fight each other. We are far ahead. You know, we are at the time where we should accept the reality that we should now come together and forgive each other.
What this is mbira, so it's very uniquely Zimbabwean, but mbira, it's like a thumb piano, but essentially this instrument, and part of this is also you know, Kansas City is a UNESCO city of music. The mbira is also an intangible you know, piece of humanity according to UNESCO, you know, inducted in 2020. But in essence, what I wanted to do is present this mbira, because the mbira in Zimbabwe is used for healing, guidance and healing. And I hope this is a small, you know, representation of our brothers and sisters in Zimbabwe to show that we are with you. The healing process always continues, but I hope this is you know, something that helps, you know, you know, proceed the healing process. I appreciate.
Till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with us stand our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world we forget thee, shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our